Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the University of Adelaide graduation ceremony. This morning's ceremony is for graduates from the Faculty of Health and Medical Sciences. The ceremony will commence shortly. The university has a contract photographer to provide photography services during the ceremony. If you wish to take photos, I would ask that you do so discreetly from your seat. And please do not use your flash. To maintain the ceremony's sense of occasion, please switch off your mobile phones. In the case of an emergency, please follow the direction of staff members. The emergency assembly point is the Goodman Crescent Lawns to the western side of Benithan Hall, and the evacuation plan can be found on page 9. Page 9 of your program. For safety reasons, guests are not to enter the galleries, upstairs, and please do not sit on the steps in the balcony area. Thank you and enjoy the ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, the academic procession is about to enter the hall. We will be singing the national anthem. The words are on page 11 of your program. Please now stand for the academic procession and remain standing for the national anthem.
I, Catherine Branson, Chancellor of the University of Adelaide, declare open this congregation convened for the purpose of presenting degrees. Distinguished guests, parents, relatives, friends, most importantly, those of you graduating today, welcome to the University of Adelaide's graduation ceremony. Gana Miana, Gana Yata Nadlu Tampanthi. In English, we recognise we're on Kaurna land. We acknowledge the Kaurna people, past and present, the traditional custodians of the lands on which the University of Adelaide's campuses are built, the Adelaide Plains. We acknowledge the Kaurna people's ongoing spiritual connection with this beautiful land. Graduates, your graduation is an event in which you can take great pride. I know that your family and friends take pride in your success as well, and the university itself also takes great pride in your successful studies. Graduation day, you might think, is an opportunity for reflection, to think about what brought you here and what lies ahead of you now that you've completed at least this stage of your studies. Wherever your future takes you, I'm confident that the knowledge you've gained here, the skills you've developed while you've been at this university, will stand you in good stead. I hope not just in your professional life, but also in every aspect of your life. It's now my great pleasure to introduce to you today's graduation orator, the Honourable Mark Butler, MP. Mark Butler has been a Labor member for Port Adelaide and now Hindmarsh in the Federal Parliament since 2007 and is the Shadow Minister for Health and Ageing. Mark served as Minister for Ageing and Australia's first Minister for Mental Health in the Gillard government. He also held the ministries of Housing, Homelessness, Social Inclusion, Climate Change, Water and the Environment. A busy person, one might think. In 2013, Mark was awarded the Alzheimer's Disease International Award for extraordinary contributions to tackling dementia. He was elected National President of the Australian Labor Party in 2015. Mark is the author of Advance Australia, The Politics of Ageing, published in 2015, and The Climate Wars, published in 2017. We are privileged to hear him speak today. Please welcome the Honourable Mark Butler, MP.
Well, thank you, Chancellor, for that very kind introduction. Can I also acknowledge the Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Professor Jenny Shaw, and echo the Chancellor's acknowledgement of country. We are proud to be standing on the lands of the Kaurna people, and I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. And what a great thing to see, people crowded into the Benithan Hall for such a momentous day for all of you graduates, and just reminds us how lucky we are here in Australia to be able to do this in the middle of a pandemic. On a perhaps sadder note, I have to say, when I glanced up at my wall in my office yesterday, I was horrified to realise that it was 30 years ago last week that I was sitting there receiving my graduation certificate in this university, and time flies, but I do remember what a fantastic day it was, how important it was to me, how proud my family was, and what a turning point really it was in my life. So first of all, can I say heartfelt congratulations to all of you for the hard work that you've done. I think we understand particularly how difficult the last 12 to 15 months have been for everyone, but including for students trying to finish their studies in a very different university environment to the one that you saw in the first couple of years of your studies. You are now all graduating, I'm very happy to say, into one of the world's outstanding health systems, hopefully to work a long, hard career as health professionals. Australia's is one of the outstanding health systems of the world on any measure. Any of the outcome measures, whether it's life expectancy, infant mortality rates, 5-year cancer survival rates, or anything else for that matter, sees Australia rate in the top 5 countries of the world usually. And we do that by spending a share of our economy at less than 10% of GDP, which is about half what the Americans spend on their health system that delivers far inferior outcomes to the ones that I've mentioned. Our health system is and has been for decades now based on the principle that you are entitled to health care no matter your capacity to pay, built on the three great pillars of Medicare, free public hospitals, and perhaps the world's best medicine system, the Pharmaceutical Benefit Scheme, which has guaranteed since the late 1940s that everyone is able to access approved medicines at an affordable price. But there is a great difference between a universal entitlement to health care and universal and equitable access. We know in Australia still that urban Australians receive much better and more health care than people in regional Australia, and particularly people living in remote Australia. We know that richer Australians receive more health care than poorer Australians. And most starkly perhaps, we know that non-Indigenous Australians receive much better health care than Indigenous Australians. I remember when I was the Mental Health Minister 10 years ago or so, receiving an evaluation of a new program then that was only 5 years old that allowed psychologists, occupational therapists and social workers to bill on Medicare for the delivery of psychological services. And that first evaluation showed that the richest 20% of Australians were receiving 3 times the value of services being delivered to the poorest 20% of Australians. It is government's role when that happens to use levers to ensure that that principle of universal entitlement is actually practiced. And I encourage you as health professionals throughout your career to think about what you can do to ensure that that beacon of the Australian health system, the principle of universal entitlement, is actually reflected in our practice. We also know, particularly in the middle of a pandemic, that health inequalities are not only apparent within countries, but they are brutally apparent between countries. Only 10 countries have received 75% of all COVID vaccines delivered so far through this pandemic. Fully 130 countries out of the 195 in the world have received not a single dose. And we see, particularly with our neighbours in the subcontinent, particularly in India, just what that global health inequality means for ordinary men, women and children. Your careers will also be shaped, as your parents' careers were and your grandparents' careers were, by the mega trends in society. And I encourage you throughout your busy health professional careers to think about the mega trends that are shaping our society. The Lancet Medical Journal calls climate change, for example, the greatest global health threat of the 21st century. And that's no more apparent than in a country like Australia, where our climate already pushes us up right against the limits of human tolerance. Increased heat events, more frequent and more intense extreme weather events, and over time, a spread of vector-borne diseases from the far north of our country right to the middle of our country will impose serious health pressures on the population, which you are going to be expected to be able to respond to as health professionals. The second mega trend that will shape your careers and the society you live in will be the mega trend of population ageing. 10 years ago, just 10 years ago, there were only a little more than 3 million Australians aged over 65. By the end of this decade, that number will be closer to 6 million, from 3 to 6 million in the space of just 2 decades. And we know that people over the age of 65, on average, tend to have 5 or more long-term health conditions. That complexity, that comorbidity, will again present particular challenges to our society more broadly, but particularly to our health professionals. I want to stress that ageing is not a burden. It is not a crisis, as it is often described. It is, as the World Health Organization describes it, one of humanity's greatest triumphs, reflecting hard work by public health officials, by public health practitioners and researchers, many of them trained in this great university, to add 25 or 30 years to average life expectancy over just a century. But it will impose particular challenges for you as public health professionals. So in addition to the ongoing, persistent challenge of health inequalities in our country and between the countries of our world, I do encourage you through your great careers, I hope, to think about the dynamics of those broader mega trends that are going to shape the societies that you grow up in, I hope raise families in, and build a successful long career as public health professionals in. Congratulations on this day. I know, we all know, that you've worked very, very hard to get here. You've worked hard, I'm sure, with the support of your family and your friends, who we're really glad are able to join you at this ceremony. So today you should feel proud. You should enjoy the day and the rest of the afternoon, I hope, and then get out there and do good work for your community. Congratulations.
On behalf of the graduates and their families attending today's ceremony, I would like to thank the Honourable Mark Butler for his stimulating and inspiring address. We are honoured that you have taken the time to join us on this special day to share with us your thoughts and experiences. Your words of encouragement and advice are greatly appreciated. They remind us that education places upon each of us an enduring responsibility to make the best possible use of our talents and to contribute to the betterment of society in whatever way we can. So please join me in once again thanking the Honourable Mark Butler.
I will now receive the candidates for degrees. I call on the Interim Deputy Vice-Chancellor and Vice President Academic.
Chancellor, I, Professor Jenny Shaw, Interim Deputy Vice-Chancellor and Vice President Academic of the University of Adelaide, certify to you and to the whole university that the graduates who will be presented to you have all fulfilled the conditions prescribed for admission to the award for which they are so presented.
I, Catherine Branson, Chancellor of the University of Adelaide, by virtue of the power committed to me by the University, confirm that each graduate is admitted to the rank and privileges of a holder of the award in the University of Adelaide for which they are so presented. I call on the Interim Head of the Adelaide Medical School, Professor Carina van den Heuvel, to present the graduates.
Chancellor. I, Interim Head of the Adelaide Medical School, Professor Carina van den Heuvel, present to you the graduates from the Faculty of Health and Medical Sciences. To the degree of Bachelor of Health and Medical Sciences, Zoe Bakapanis. Annika Barry. Bert Vincent Ganzon Barola. Jessica Betts. Nicola Pero Britvich. Yasmina Banu Bati Mohammed Jamil. Patience Elizabeth Castleton. Zoe Tessa Chandler. Shou Yu Chen. Rong Hui Tsi. Sarah Jane Davidson. Beta DeBay. Annabelle Lauren Dickens. Catherine Ann Edwards. Amelia Margaret Eck. Kelly Brianna Elms. Panayotis Fitakidis. Esther Wambu Gato. Kai David Gaskin. Andrew Girotti. Sean Caitlin Gove. Amy Tanya Jivaj. Adam Edvard Sebastian Halech. Courtney Georgia Hammond. Sarah Jane Hammond. Amber Jessica Hanks. Rebecca Elizabeth Hannah. Ivana Raquel Hunt. Matthew James Liv. Natasha Ioannidis. Mason Jackson. Belinda Mary Jenkins. Hora Jaburi. Deborah Kapinga Katambui. Zakayla Georgia Kotsoliotis. Chiak In Liang. Zi Liu. Sophia Livididis. Grace Mackenzie. Georgia Kate Madigan. Kazandria Magday. Lauren Margush. Bianca Jane Munsberg. Zuhal Naderi. Diana Naji. Rosemary Laura Neat. Hayley Dawn Newman. Leanne Nguyen. Kushal Panalia. Christopher Allen Paul. Emma Louise Preolini. Jennifer Quach. Lucy Quinlan. Melanie Elise Ralph. Giuseppe Rinaldi. Charles Luciano Roy. San Francisca. Samuel Schaff. Jordan Mary Selwood. Bofavote Singh. Andrew Yuen Shin. Bonnie Jade Snell. Sid Henry Spicer. Katerina Stoysavlovic. Celine Tanashia. Danielle Tang. Emma Thomas. Sheridan Marie Toddenay. Trang Ngoc Trunk. Tin Yan Soy. Ayla Rain K. Vanderheyden. Kayla Lee Weber. Talia Jean Welford Stewart. Claudia Mary White. Isabel Williams. Kei Yi Yang. Dana Zah. And Minhao Zera. To the degree of Bachelor of Health Sciences, Jordan Zoe Borisal. And Jethro Peter Stutzer. To the degree of Bachelor of Health and Medical Sciences Advanced, Helia Abdullahi. Ayamidi Peter Apina. Madison Boda. Eleanor Rose Bowley Schubert. Lacey Rose Boshier. Georgia Elise Bright. Kenny Gale. Peach Somnang Che. Christine Tanaka Chivo-Nivoni. Chan Hee Cho. Abigail Kathy Churches. Caroline Jasmine Clausen. Maya Rochelle Davies. Samantha Elizabeth Edwards. Christina Juliet Garnett Jagger. Talia Ruby Georgeson. Aidan James Graziano. Aaron Scott Hammett. Athira Hasnell. Norei Hayama. Catherine Chelsea Jujo Harana. Ellen Claire Hunter Howe. Danielle Amber King. Martha Contos. Georgia Ann Dulcie Cowald. Timothy Yuen York Kwok. Thomas William Lamb. Ray Adrian Remo Lara. Wendy Lee Matson. Paris Annie Mazaki. Noria Maradi. Heng Fong Nguyen. Daniel John Nicerius. Isabel Rose O'Loughlin. Kate Lily Penta. Shayna Proden. Michaela Jocelyn Quinn. Gabriela Alejandra Rodriguez Arias. Also receiving the Diploma in Languages, Sarah Hannah Schultz. Mackenzie Rose Skinner. Linda Chan Sok. Drishti Sood. Nicole Diana Torres. Yana Valudis. Alexandra Page Warrenda. Amber Page Williams. And Martin Yanchev. Chancellor, this concludes the graduates from the Faculty of Health and Medical Sciences. I now present to you the graduates from the Adelaide Medical School. To the degree of Master of Clinical Science for a thesis entitled The Effect of Advanced Recovery Room Care on Post-Operative Outcomes in Medium-Risk Surgical Patients, Courtney Lloyd. To the degree of Master of Philosophy Surgery for a thesis entitled Extended Thromboprophylaxis Following Major Open Abdominopelvic Surgery for Malignancy, a Review of Efficacy, Safety and Economic Impact, Bridget Caroline Haycope. To the degree of Master of Philosophy Ophthalmology for a thesis entitled Bioenergetic Neuroprotection in Experimental Glaucoma, Chelsea Suzanne Geimer. To the degree of Master of Philosophy Clinical Science for a thesis entitled Diurnal Variation in the Performance of Rapid Response Systems, Krishnaswamy Sundarajan. To the degree of Doctor of Philosophy for a thesis entitled Long-Term Outcomes in Survivors of Critical Illness and Interaction with Glucose Metabolism, Yasmin Ali Abdel Hamid. For a thesis entitled Regulators of Seminal Fluid Signalling and Their Impact on Gene Expression During the Peri-Implantation Period of Pregnancy, Hon Yuang Chan. For a thesis entitled Emu Oil in Combination with Herbal Preparations Provides a Novel Adjunctive Approach to Colitis-Associated Colorectal Cancer Prevention, Lauren Claire Chartier. For a thesis entitled The Effect of Washed versus Unwashed Packed Red Blood Cell Transfusion on Immune Responses in the Extremely Preterm Newborn, a randomised trial, Tara Marie Crawford. For a thesis entitled Visualising Intestinal Inflammation and Fibrosis using zirconium-89 labelled antibodies in a preclinical model of inflammatory bowel disease, Nicole Mahuska. For a thesis entitled Improving Breast Health, the Use of Hormonal Combinations to Reduce Mammographic Breast Density and the Utility of Shear Wave Elastography as a Biomarker of the Effects of These Interventions, Daniela Doherty. And for a thesis entitled Investigations into the Lived Experience and Etiology of Dysmenorrhea and Pelvic Pain in Young Women, Susan Evans. Chancellor, this concludes the graduates from the Adelaide Medical School and for this ceremony.
I'm now very pleased to present to you Michaela Jocelyn Quinn, who was presented this morning with the Bachelor of Health and Medical Sciences Advanced. Michaela will now give the valedictory address on behalf of the cohort of graduates who were presented with their awards today.
Thank you, Chancellor. To the graduating cohort of 2020, friends, family and distinguished guests, I'm honoured to stand before you as we celebrate the hard work and achievement of all the graduates here today. As I began reflecting on my time at university, one thing soon became clear, and this was that the person I was on my first day is very different to the one who entered this hall today, which is no doubt a feeling shared by all of the graduates. I have learned so much over the past 3 years, not only in the academic sense, but perhaps more importantly about myself. Each and every one of us has had our own unique experiences here, a combination of good times and bad times, times of laughter, and also times of stress. There have been countless challenges faced and overcome by each of us, and whilst we might not have realised it at the time, these have forced us to grow, not only as students, but as people. I know we are often told not to dwell on the past for too long, and always look towards the future and what is coming next. And whilst I agree with this, I recently came across the phrase, "We do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience," which got me thinking about the value of reflection, especially on significant days like today, and its ability to remind us just how far we have come and prepare us for what lies ahead. So in saying that, I ask my fellow graduates to cast your minds back to your first year. Those first couple of weeks for most of us, myself included, probably weren't the easiest, and our graduation day seemed so far away. I know for me, the thought of a new environment, one in which I had no idea where any of my classes were and knew very few people, was quite daunting. I remember rocking up to my first tutorial for human biology, feeling extremely nervous and just hoping that I would make it through the class without getting called on to answer anything. As I looked around the class, I soon realised I was not alone in this feeling, which was comforting, especially as it became clear that our chances of making it through that class unnoticed were very slim, as we were introduced to our first of many dreaded icebreakers. Whilst I often felt uneasy and nervous during those first few weeks, it challenged me to step outside of my comfort zone and become more actively involved. Although I'll admit this terrified me in the beginning, it led to me learning a valuable lesson about the importance of putting myself out there and not being afraid to ask questions in order to truly learn and experience all that the university has to offer. It has been this engagement with fellow students and academic staff, the sharing of ideas and learning from others, that has been one of the most enjoyable parts of my time at university. As although you can learn a lot from the textbook, the things that have stayed ingrained in my mind have been the ones shared in these discussions. As the weeks and months went by, everything started to feel normal. I soon learned where to get the best coffee, what cafes sold the cheapest lunch, and where the quiet spaces were to get some much-needed study done. Over the coming years, there were a range of highs and lows, and with each of them came a lesson, some of which were related to our studies, such as how to best prepare for an exam, or the life-saving discovery of EndNote, whilst others were more personal, like learning to deal with disappointment or how to manage various commitments that demanded our attention. However, undoubtedly the most important lesson I have learned is to say yes to every opportunity, as you never know what doors it may open for you. It is this attitude that I hope we take with us as we move into our careers with a strong belief in ourselves and all that we have learned here to make the most out of every opportunity. Obviously, I couldn't deliver this address without reflecting on our final year at university, which was definitely far from what we were all expecting. 2020 was a year like no other and presented challenges on many fronts, including our university lives, as our lectures, tutorials and practicals shifted online in a matter of days. Whilst attending the dreaded 9 a.m. lecture quickly became a thing of the past, the novelty soon wore off as our lives seemed to begin to revolve around a series of timetabled Zoom meetings. I think we can all recall times when those well-intended breakout rooms didn't quite live up to the expectation and agree that the atmosphere and experience of attending class in person was sorely missed. As a result, we were all forced to adapt to a new way of learning, which we did. As challenging and as unmotivating as that period of time often was, we should all be incredibly proud of the resilience and adaptability we showed in the face of such uncertain times. I truly believe it will be these qualities that will prove to be invaluable and hold us in good stead as we move into the next phase of our lives and start our careers. I would also like to acknowledge the impact last year had on the broader university community in general. Speaking to some of the academic staff at the end of last year made me realise how fast everything had changed for them as well. They were forced to practically change the way they delivered and assessed entire courses overnight, which brought with it a world of challenges we as students weren't even aware of. I know I speak for all the graduates here today when I say how appreciative and thankful I am for your efforts and support, especially over the past 12 months, to ensure our studies were disrupted as little as possible. Throughout my time at this university, there have been countless individuals who've had a profound and inspirational impact on me, which I'll be forever grateful for. Firstly, to Professor Corinna van der Heuvel and Dr. Kathy Gatford for creating and coordinating such an engaging and rewarding degree that has opened our eyes to the amazing world of health and medical science. To all of my lecturers, tutors and practical demonstrators over the years, thank you for enriching my learning and passing on your wealth of knowledge and experience. I would also like to extend my thank you to all the friends and family in attendance today for their unwavering love and support that has enabled us to thrive and achieve our best during our time here. I've been fortunate enough to make many friendships and memories that will stay with me for a lifetime. So my final thank you must go to my fellow graduates for your friendship, your support, and for making my university experience so memorable. Before I conclude my address, I have some parting words for the graduating cohort. I hope we leave here today with a sense of accomplishment and optimism for our futures. However, before we start focusing on our next step, whatever that may be, make sure you take the time to celebrate this occasion and all the hard work that has led to this moment. I will ask that we take the skills and attributes we have developed during our time here and be confident in our abilities to tackle whatever twists and turns come our way in the future. Whether you're planning on completing further study in the coming years or entering the workforce, I have no doubt you will all be successful and make your mark in your chosen careers. I wish you all nothing but the very best and cannot wait to hear where your next step takes you. Thank you.
Thank you, Michaela. It now gives me great pleasure to congratulate as a cohort all of you who received your awards today. Be proud of what you've worked to achieve, but remember those who supported you along the way. It'll be your family, your relatives, your friends, and I know the fine staff of this university. I wish you every success as you enter this new and exciting stage of your life's journey. As graduates of the University of Adelaide, you are also its alumni and its ambassadors. Over the years since this university was established, its alumni have made enormous contributions, not only in this country, but all around the world. You now join this community of more than 147,000 alumni of this university. They are found in more than 134 countries of the world. We have 17 global alumni networks, including 8 international networks. I hope you'll give thought to perhaps joining one of these networks. Let me thank our mace bearer today, both Favoti, I apologise for not getting that better, and also again Michaela, a valedictorian, but also all who assisted in the organisation and running of today's event. I now ask all of the graduates to remain seated while I invite everyone else who comfortably can to stand and join me in once again congratulating all of our graduates. Would the audience please remain standing? And I ask the graduates now to stand for the academic recession. Once the academic recession has left the hall, we ask our guests to please stay at your seats until staff of the university assist you to leave the building. I now declare this congregation adjourned.